everyone, and welcome to the StoatPod, the last podcast left in these trying times.
Is that true? Are you really the last podcast left?
Yes, that is true.
Really?
Yeah, that is true. Nobody's left.
Wow, I did not realize that. How long has that been true for?
What do you mean?
I mean, I feel like I've listened to at least one podcast within this year, so the other podcasts can't have died out too long ago.
Oh, yeah, it's super recent.
How recent?
I mean, it was literally today. The force of this podcast being created absolutely killed the existence of every other podcast.
You think that maybe you shouldn't have done that?
It's trying times.
All right.
Anyway, we have an exciting guest today. You know him. You're all subscribed to him. It is Stoatly.
Any given person could listen to this podcast.
True.
So you're saying that every single person on planet Earth is subscribed to me?
Yes.
That is blatantly false.
Listen, you are the most famous YouTuber on the planet.
I am absolutely not. Where are you getting this from?
You're the last YouTuber left in these trying times.
No, I am not. This isn't even the last podcast left in these trying times anyway, is it? There are still other podcasts that exist.
Look it up.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that, because that's exactly what I was going to do anyway.
What are you seeing?
The podcasts are...
Right, I know that.
So you're actually
the last podcast left in these trying times, yes.
Alright, well, I'm not the last YouTuber left in these trying times. That is objectively false.
Okay, let's get into the interview. So, Stoatly, what is the secret behind your channel? I'm sure many of your audience members are wondering what the secrets are that you're using to get so popular.
You're acting as if I'm wildly above every single YouTuber ever. I'm not.
You're in like the top 5 to 10% of all YouTubers ever.
Maybe because of how many people just post one video ever and then are stuck at 32 subscribers for eternity.
Okay, fine. If you're insistent that you're unpopular and will never amount to anything, fine. But what is your insane secret that has allowed you to get mildly known?
Okay, yeah, I've actually gotten this question a lot from like people at school that are like, oh, what's your secret? And the answer is that there isn't one. I deliberately avoid watching YouTube videos that are like tutorials on how to be a popular YouTuber because I don't want that to cloud my judgment.
Okay, but what is your secret?
I just said that there isn't one.
Okay, then what advice would you give to a YouTuber who's just starting out?
It's basically a random algorithm.
No, it is not.
Don't interrupt me, and it might as well be.
I can concede.
So don't go into it having like high hopes, just do it for fun, and because it's basically random whether or not you're going to be popular.
You seem to have that answer already prepared.
Yeah, somebody asked that on my Mario Kart live stream, and I gave that exact answer. If you're going to respond exactly how the rest of chat did when I said that...
Well, that's a depressing outlook.
Oh, so you are going to respond exactly how the entire chat did.
Why do you think you deserve to be a YouTuber when you have such a down-in-the-dumps view on YouTubing?
I just said it's basically random.
I understand. You have no right to have any more than 43 subscribers.
I mean, I did have 43 subscribers for 3 years before becoming popular.
Alright, question 2. Why are only you here? In the email I sent you, I explicitly said that I wanted both you and your brother to make an appearance.
Brother? I don't have a brother.
Sure you don't. I mean, come on, have you seen this?
You can't expect me to see an image that you're going to have your editor put in when you send this recording to him.
See it anyway.
Fine, I'll play by your rules. The way I did that shot is by recording myself in 2 different places and then mashing the clips together. What did you expect?
I know for a fact that's not what you did, because when I've tried to do that, there's always been a very obvious seam with a lighting change. How do you make it so seamless?
Because it is absolutely not seamless. Have you ever heard of a border being smoothed out? This is what it looks like before the smoothing.
Whoa!
Don't act like you can see it. You'll have your editor put it in.
Well, my editor could beat up your editor in a fight.
I don't have an editor. I do all the editing around here.
Oh, well, in that case, we actually have had multiple people in the past who have propositioned that they could edit for you, for free, in fact.
Okay, yeah, I've seen these.
Then why haven't you taken any of them up? You could dramatically decrease your workload. Editing is the most time-consuming part of making a video, after all.
Yeah, I know, that's the point. Making videos is mostly editing, and so if I can't edit, I lose control over basically the entire video, how it looks and the music. Not to mention that editing is my favorite part of making a video, so if I don't get to edit, the overall video making experience goes down for me.
How dare you?
How dare I what?
If you despise all other parts of making a YouTube video, why are you even a YouTuber? You should just be an editor for some YouTuber who actually enjoys what they do.
You are exhibiting the excluded middle fallacy, where you assume that the only 2 options are liking one but disliking the other, or liking both of them equally. You're ignoring the completely reasonable middle ground of preferring one, but still finding enjoyment in the others of some capacity.
Alright, next question. Do you come up with these video ideas by yourself?
Yes? What's the alternative?
It seems that a few people think that a tiny child like you could never come up with video ideas this whole time.
Alright, well if these people thought of the fact that it would be questionable on the part of an adult to come up with ideas and write scripts, but then get some child to be the actor for the channel...
No, they have not.
Then it's a good thing I'm on this podcast right now telling them that.
Glad you're enjoying your time on the StoatPod, the last podcast left.
Why is it called the StoatPod?
Because it's a Stoat-related podcast.
What do you have to do with stoats?
Because I'm the host of a podcast called the StoatPod.
But I'm Stoatly. What are the chances that I, Stoatly, would appear on a podcast called the StoatPod?
100%. You're here right now.
No,
Anyways, the clone machine real?
Yes, it is, but you have no business knowing about it, so no, it's not.
Ooh, continuity error.
What?
You talked earlier about how you made this shot by filming yourself in two separate places.
I mean, yes, that one's me, one's a clone of me. We filmed them both both at once.
But then you talked about mashing the two clips together. If it was just recording both of you at once, then what were the two clips that were being mashed together?
I mean, you don't know if I was talking about what specifically I did. I was just giving a general rule for people without clones to make them. Of course, it would look absolutely dreadful without clones, but,
But that's what you said you did.
Do you have evidence to support your claim?
Yes, this is all recorded.
That's just a lie you're making up on the spot to threaten me.
If this wasn't being recorded, would I do this? Hey guys, be sure to like and subscribe so that we can become the #1 podcast ever. Here are all these guys that we're gonna beat.
I thought you were the last podcast left.
That's true. Make sure to like and subscribe so that more people can be aware of this podcast and we won't all be plunged into an eternity of non-podcastness.
I mean, we're not all plunged into such an eternity. Only the people who don't know about this podcast, the last podcast left on Earth. The people who have heard about it don't have any incentive to spread the word to those people because they're already in an okay situation.
I know, but maybe some people have goodness in their hearts.
If you have something like that in your heart, go to the hospital. That is not one of the normal heart structures.
No, it's because people will feel emotions in their heart that will make them want to spread the word of the StoatPod, the last podcast left in these trying times.
No, what? The heart isn't related to anything emotional. It's just blood that it does.
Blood and emotions.
Nope, just blood. It's a bloody lump.
Well, I'd like to think that some people will have goodness in their hearts and it'll incentivize them to spread the word of this podcast's existence.
That's not a thing. You've just gone back to your original argument. You can't say something impossible and then upon its refutal say that you hope it happens anyway.
Listen, you have a depressing view on YouTubing and you have a depressing view of the world in general. You can't be talking, sir.
You have a weird podcast that mysteriously wiped out the existence of all other podcasts and you keep hoping that impossibilities happen. Do you think you have the right to be talking?
Yes, I do. It's called freedom of speech and it's my favorite First Amendment.
Listen, I don't think this podcast has a reason to exist. You've just been occasionally asking me questions and then insulting me randomly.
You're probably too busy being wrapped up in your own pessimism to know what's an insult and what's not.
You objectively have been insulting me.
I'm not going to listen to somebody depressing and pessimistic.
You are exhibiting the ad hominem fallacy where you attack the person instead of the argument. Are your debate skills really so weak that you have to resort to an I'm not listening to you because you're lame argument?
Now you're insulting me back.
I am taking revenge, and also I do not like you.
It's not a good look for you to be insulting a humble podcast host. Your fans will never think of you the same way again. Say goodbye to any hopes of ever expanding your channel again.
I won't be doing that.
You think this whole podcast is dumb and nothing matters in the world.
You are exhibiting the straw man fallacy where you misrepresent or exaggerate my argument to make it easier to criticize. In other words, you're putting words into my mouth and then getting angry about them.
You think that this is the worst podcast in the whole world.
That's true because this is the last podcast left on Earth, but if the other podcast still existed, this one would be very low on the list of podcasts I like and very high on the list of ones I dislike.
You need to learn to appreciate what you have. Most people would be ecstatic to be on any podcast, let alone the last podcast left in these trying times.
You are exhibiting the relative provision fallacy where you invalidate my complaint because other people have it worse.
Do you have nothing better to do than point out fallacies left and right?
Do you have nothing better to do than be fallible?
Next question.
You had more questions this whole time but weren't giving them to me?
That's right, you were too busy insulting me.
I was trying to make you stop insulting me.
Listen, this is an insulting podcast.
What does that mean?
Next question. What is your political stance?
My guy, I'm 14.
Point taken. What's your opinion on the fact that YouTube raised their minimum live streaming requirement to 16 years of age?
Yeah, so I don't care.
You couldn't start streaming again even if you wanted to. How about you move to Twitch?
I don't have a desire to stream so strong that I'll just move to Twitch. I'm 100% content not streaming.
Who could be content with not streaming?
Me.
What kind of person are you?
YouTuber Stoatly at youtube.com/@Stoatly4.
All right.
Is this the end of the episode? I feel like there's nothing more for you to ask me.
What do you think you'll be when you're an adult? Perhaps an actor or a comedian?
Software developer.
What? You have a YouTube job.
No, it's a hobby.
But you make money from it.
Yeah, like $200 a month. That's 17% of minimum wage.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and also I don't want to have YouTube as a job because it's unstable and I don't like when hobbies become jobs. If I had to do it to make a living, I wouldn't enjoy it anymore.
You're like the least ambitious YouTuber I've ever heard of.
Yeah, well, I call it being realistic, I guess.
I'll call it cynical.
Oh, come on.
Anyway, it's time for the next question.
It's been time for the next question for this entire podcast, but somehow it's not happened yet.
Listen, that's not my fault.
Is it time for the next question, or was that not real?
No, it's time for the next question. I just have to think about what it is.
You don't just say it's time for the next question unless there actually is a next question.
But that's how interviews work. It's always time for the next question in interviews.
I don't think this is an interview at this point. I think this is just an awkward conversation and a catalyst for maybe something to happen.
Hey, this isn't a catalyst.
Okay, but have you thought of the next question yet?
Okay, it's time for the next question.
Great.
What are your greatest strengths?
What kind of job interview question is that? You're not hiring me.
You don't know that.
Are you hiring me?
No.
My greatest strength is that I can learn something once and then just remember it forever. I don't have to review or anything.
How about your greatest weakness?
Rigid thinking.
And what is your expected salary?
This is not a job interview.
That's right, folks. This is the StoatPod, the last podcast left on Earth.
Okay, we've devolved into madness at this point. Is that the end?
Yeah. That's gonna be it from me, folks. This has been the StoatPod, the last podcast left in these trying times. Tune in again for episode 2, and I'll see you then. Farewell.